Hey guys, it's Tiny Tom Logan back with another video for you, and today, quite strangely, we're going to be doing a quick look, preview, unboxing, whatever the fuck you want to call it, of the Asus Maximus VI Extreme. Now this did get sent to me literally the day before the NDA for Haswell, and to be fair, after I'd done all the other boards, there was no chance you were going to get this one out of me, and I needed a little bit of head clearing before I even wanted to look at another Haswell motherboard where we did so many in such a short space of time. So first one we're going to get out of the way is the extreme end of the ROG 1150, Republic of Gamers line, obviously the Maximus VI Extreme. There are a few ones below this, but this is the flagship, most expensive one, looking at prices being over 300 GBP, so it better be bloody good at that price. Anyway, we'll have a look around the back. Don't worry, we'll let you have a look inside in a minute. It comes with the overclock panel. They've got extreme mode, which basically means it goes on your desk. I'll show you in a minute. And then normal mode, you can mount it inside your case. But essentially it's Z87 chipset. It's got memory here up to 2800 overclock, but I'm pretty sure you'll be able to push past that as well. Expansion slots, 5 PCI Express 3, 16 slots. Single at native 16 times, dual at native 8 times 8 times, triple at 8 times 16 times 8 times, and quad at 8 times 16 times 8 times 8 times. Crikey, that's a mouthful. Just pause on that bit if you're actually interested in it. Says that it does 4-way SLI and AMD Crossfire X. Then we've got 8 USB 3 ports, 8 USB 2 ports. There's loads on there. Anyway, I reckon I'll give you a quick look at the way it comes just inside the box there like that. And then we've also got, oh crikey, it's quite a heavy box, all this malarkey which you can stick in HD, 1080, whatever you want to call it, and full screen it, and you'll be able to see all this stuff. But essentially it's got Extreme Digi Plus 3 hardcore power delivery with premium components, extra connections with new gen support, saying it's got Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. I personally don't see the point in that on an extreme board like this, but someone must use it. And then we've obviously got the VGA hot wire, Sub-Zero Sense, and they're talking about the overclock panel again. But back to that bit. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the camera, bring the white background in so it looks a little bit nicer so you can't see my poor battered desks. And then we'll have a good up close look at the board, and then I'll also show you what comes in the rest of the box as well, with the features, the overclock panel, and all that type of shazammy stuffs, and yeah, that. Okay then, shiny happy people. So we get to have a look at the Maximus VI Extreme in kind of its naked glory. Now, with some of the other boards that I've been pointing out recently, because obviously we've seen a black and red board from MSI and Gigabyte recently, you can see with the Asus that there's a lot more red visible. Obviously we've got red slots, red on the RAM. We've only got a little bit on the heat sinks really, and down on the SATAs, and it's almost the opposite with the other boards. They're all kind of heatsink based and everything else is black. So this is kind of the black and red styling that we are used to with the ROGs, especially down here on what I would still call the Northbridge chip. I know it's not, but I'm an old school kind of old man, do you know what I mean? So anyway, what we do need to do is have a look up close. Now, I'm just having a look myself. We can see that all of these slots, the first and the second, we show you, I'm not sure whether the camera's going to pick it up, but the first and the second, they're wired 16 times. The bottom two are wired 8 times. Now if you were going to Crossfire or SLI, you'd probably end up using that one and that one, and they'll run it 8 times each, because you wouldn't really want to sandwich them both together. But the way that they're laid out is 1 and 2, you use those. It's not until you start adding the extra ones in that they start to split down a little bit more. Obviously a nice 1, 2, 3 slot gap between what we would call first and second graphics card for 2 card SLI and stuff. That's a nice big gap, so that if you did have a pair of cards in there, they'd be able to breathe, which is the most important thing. If you sandwich them right together, the top one's just going to end up screaming and getting too hot, and it's just never going to be a nice experience to use. We can see that we've still got a black PCI Express there. That's wired 8 times as well. This would probably end up being for, like, I don't know, maybe a RAID card, or, you know, some other sound card or something, if you were just using one graphics card, and you could have that in there if you wanted. But you've also got a short PCI Express here. This is a 4 times. This would be perfect for any of your PCI Express 1 items, like sound cards and stuff, if you wanted it right down the bottom out the way. We can see here we've got 2, these are the BIOS chips, so we've got 2 BIOSes on this. If we have a look at the top, 8-pin and a 4-pin CPU power. Now we can see some rather swanky caps all hidden in here, or MOSFETs, whatever you want to call them. I really should have looked up what Asus call them. In fact, let me have a look on the box quick, because it's down on deck. It doesn't appear to have picked out any of those points. There's no pictures that I can see where it's shouting about those premium components. That's all it's saying. Let's have a look. It's here. Super premium 10K black metallic solid state capacitors are forged for overclocking in the most extreme demands, lasting up to 5 times longer than generic capacitors with 20% lower temp tolerance. Exclusive ROG engineering further allows aggressive CPU overvolting, making the most of new Intel Core processors and larger overclocking headroom. NextFET. Power block MOSFETs combine a durability of up to 90% efficiency under normal operation. A new Blackwing chokes handle the pressure with ease, rated up to 60 amps or double generic chokes. A special fin design results in 3 to 5 degrees lower choke temps for added stability, which is increased exponentially by the use of highly conductive and efficient gold. This translates into minimal loss power delivery. So it's that section there, the NextFETs, that's the black things. There was nothing shouting about that, but they do look rather nice. Black and gold's kind of a classic look, really. It instantly makes me start thinking of Subarus and stuff, but you've got all of those ones hidden around there. You've also got a couple down here, which I'm assuming is to feed the memory, and I can't see any other ones. But as we're up at the top of the board, you can see we've got a LCD poster here, so you can obviously fault find. Start and a reset button, and that's a slow mode for when you're on ridiculous overclocking and stuff. This little gadget is awesome. If you've got 4 graphics cards in and one goes wrong, and let's say they're water cooled, it will stop your system from booting because it made blue screen. So let's say you want to start working out which one it is. You can actually disable the PCI Express lane altogether by pushing it across and disable the lane. And say for argument's sake your faulty card was in PCI Express 3, flick that across, it will then boot, because as far as the computer's concerned, that card's not there anymore. And believe it or not, this has helped me no end on a couple of occasions. Now, you may not need it very often, but when you do, you'll be glad that's there. We've got a Mem OK button there. Looking down the side, obviously we've got 24-pin USB 3 header. We've got 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. They're all red, so I'm going to assume that they're all say at 6. Down at the bottom, BIOS switch. What's that? It says direct key there. But let's have a look at fans, and we'll kind of bounce around because there are a load of them. If we have a look here, we can see we've got 1, 2, and there's 3, all kind of in that area. And then we've got up here, you've got another one in there. That's the CPU fan, and that's saying CPU optional. These are channel fans apparently. But so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I believe that's our lot as far as fan headers are concerned. Now, I know some people will be like, oh yeah, I've got to have loads and loads of fan headers on my boards, and each to their own, but I'm very much of the opinion, especially with like CPU fans and stuff. I know some people like to set up the fan control settings in the BIOS and stuff. I never seem to use them. I don't really get on with them. I end up just manually setting mine and then leaving it, and it's just on quiet all the time, no matter whether it's on load or not. And that's just the way I seem to set them up. If you want to use them on the board, another reason why I don't like it is then you end up putting loads of cables all around the front of the boards, and it just ends up looking horrible, and people don't put enough time into trying to make stuff look tidy. Again, that's just me being ridiculous and really picky. Anyway, we can see up here, pardon me, that we have a 6-pin PCI Express connector. Now this is to help feed the PCI Expresses down here when you're running multiple graphics cards. But just to let everyone know, you don't have to use this. If you're not running a 3 or even 4 graphics cards, I wouldn't even think about this. You're honestly not going to need it. It's just you're going to end up having a cable coming over here, or someone just badly sticking it over the top, and it will look horrible, and you don't need it. This is almost, and I do mean this nicely, no I don't, this is almost a noob sign. If someone's just got this wanged in with 1 or 2 graphics cards, I can honestly say that they're just plugging it in for the sake of it, and you've made your rig look ugly. So you honestly, half the time, or even 90% of the time, you don't need to use these. I've had on the the Rampage 4, I've had 4 graphics cards in, and this has made 0 difference to any overclocks or stability or anything that I was doing, and that was when I was doing 4 7970s. So just to keep it in mind, peeps, you know what I mean, go for that tidy look. Anyway, so as we're looking around, we'll have a look around the back. You can see we've got a BIOS switch here, and that's the the link button. We've got 2, 4, 6 USB 3s, 2 USB 2s, gigabit Ethernet, display port, HDMI, digital audio. We have a PS2 here, awesome for overclockers, and then we've got HD audio. This section up here is left empty because that's where your wireless thing can go. And neatly moving on to the wireless, in fact I'll put that there and I can show you. There's this little M-SATA connection. This is your wireless and your Bluetooth, and it connects in at the top up here like this, and then it dangles 2 connectors out the back. And what you can do with those 2 connectors is ta-da! Connect this. Might not look like much, but what you do is you spin it round and it sits on your desk, and this is like your wireless and Bluetooth kind of aerial. Now I'm going to be honest with you, as far as wireless is concerned, I think wireless is for mobile phones, tablets and laptops. Wireless for your main rig, you've got no excuse. All you really need to do, and this is a real cheap set, is get yourself some power line kits. It's got an Ethernet in the top, plugs into your electric line, and essentially you put one near your router or your modem, whatever, and then the other one where your computer is. I would never use my main rig on wireless. I just think it's utterly pointless. And these are 200 megabits a second. That's a big M, big B, so that's going to be faster than you're going to need for your Tinternet. You know, most people are going to have 100 meg internet. Simple, sorry, little M, little B. Oh, even I'm confusing myself now. So you're not going to need it. If you want to start running a file server or something like that, you may want to get the special or the quicker 500 meg ones. But if it's just for Tinternet and gaming and stuff like that, your ping won't necessarily go up at all, and it'll be much faster than using bloody wireless. I've got my TV set up in the front room, TNR, the TV in my bedroom, all set up, linked into my home server and all my internet and everything via home plugs, and I don't get any issues whatsoever. And I would wholeheartedly recommend you use something like that over wireless, whether it's connected to your board or a separate bloody dongle or anything like that. I honestly don't think that they're worth bothering with. Right, so moving on, we'll leave the board in shot. There was the overclock thing. Now, this isn't screwed in because I want to take it out and show you afterwards, but that's the little bay that you can have in the front of your rig. It will fit in an optical bay, but you can also whip it out and have it so it stands on your desk. And I'll give you a quick demo. You can have it so it stands on your desk like that. And if you have a look, you've got start button, you've got power on button, Windows buttons, overclock buttons, loads of little settings that you can go through and play with. Now, I've got to admit, I know there are going to be loads of you that are going to love a little gadget on your desk. But really, once you've got your rig set up, are you really ever going to need this that badly? I don't know, there's something about this. Asus have got kind of a habit of packaging stuff in, like the overclock key thing that came with the Rampage 4. 90% of people kind of look at it and then leave it in the box. I've never used it apart from in the review, and I've never wanted to either. If you're an extreme overclocker, these are like the voltage things in the sidelet. If you're an extreme overclocker, you ain't going to use this. And this is where the ROG brand has got a little bit confused of late, because people kind of assume that they're, you know, brilliant overclockers, and fair enough. But then this is just a useless kind of gamer child's toy. And like I said, I know that there'll be loads of people that are going to want to use it. I mean, we've got fan headers and stuff on here, and you know what I mean, wicked. It's something to play with. There is a connector inside the case with an extender cable for this, and you've got the USB, you've got SATA power if when it's inside your rig as well. Now, yeah, all well and good, but I'm just, yeah, I don't know, I'm getting to the point nowadays where it looks like they're just looking for stuff to add into the box, to make people that don't necessarily, you know about it think, oh wow, that's amazing, go and buy it, and then they're like, fuck, it's useless. You know what I mean, I've just got this tiny little LCD panel which I can have my keyboard read out. So yeah, when we review it, we'll see whether we like it or not. But this is something, you know what I mean, it's a nice gadget and stuff, and looks like something you should have from Star Trek or something, but it's just one of those things that you're probably not going to use that much in the end, and I think you'd probably be better off saving the money and, you know, getting the board without it, if that makes any sense. Anyway, perhaps it doesn't. We'll talk about that when I do the main review anyway. So there we have the overview of the board, all lovely black and red. I'm expecting a lot from this because of the price tag, and it's obviously the Extreme, so as far as we're concerned, it's the best that the Maximus or Asus ROG have got to offer with the Haswell stuff. So I'm going to leave it there because I don't want to pass too many of my thoughts and stuff about this already. I've already kind of said I don't like the overclock panel, but we'll see. It may grow on me, we'll have to see, and then that'll be quite interesting when we do the main video to see that when I do start using it, whether I start to like it or not. But for now, at least, this is Tiny Tom Logan with our quick overview, or whatever the bloody hell you want to call it, of the Asus Maximus VI Extreme. Out.